Hey, Krista and Stephanie here, and we wanted to do a video showing you exactly what you will be able to do at the end of the grant search and evaluation live training. And Stephanie's going to explain what you'll actually get for free because we've created some tools, you know us, inside of Notion that you get to have for free when you register for this training.
Yes, we are going to include a funders database and a grant tracker so that you can keep track of all of the opportunities and funders that you find using our grant prospector agent. And then after you find them, you can evaluate those with the opportunity evaluator agent. And all of this comes with a 14-day free trial of our new bespoke web app specifically for pulling grant making history into your system so that you can get really excellent in depth analysis of funder patterns to determine if it's something you should pursue.
So everything that Stephanie is about to demo and show you, you get as part of this training to make all of this easier. At the same time, though, we're going to give you the Google Doc version of it. If you don't want to use Notion, you can take this to your AI of choice, put in the agent instructions, and just go. The other thing is, Stephanie mentioned an app that she made. This is not something that we want you to subscribe to and spend hundreds of dollars a month or even a year on. It's a thing that's $10 a month just to cover the cost of us making it and hosting it. And you can turn it off and on. And we encourage you to turn it off and on because you're not going to need it all the time. You'll need the system we have all the time, which once you have it, you have it. You don't have to pay for anything else for it. But this thing you can turn off and on. So, just so you know, we're not trying to like get you into some other subscription. It just is part of what we made to make all of this work as cheaply as possible. All right. So, Stephanie is going to take it away.
All right. We're starting the process with the grant prospector agent. This is one designed specifically for After School Chicago, which basically means it's looking directly at After School Chicago's materials as it is searching for things. So I'm going to start it up and say, I want to find grants for the social emotional learning program. That's one of the programs, and it'll help get us focused as we're starting.
Because it's looking through this super detailed organization profile that we teach you how to write. So there's no guessing about what it is that you do, how you do it, what your annual budget is, where you're located, who you serve. So it's more detailed than anything any grants database ever asks you to complete before it starts searching for grants for you.
Yeah, it's also double checking the grant tracker for any existing opportunities that are listed there so it doesn't duplicate things we've already found. I'm going to specifically look for non government grant makers this round. So now it's building a set of keywords to use for searching, and it's going to start in core mode, which means it's going to look for the strictest level of match between our organization's details and the opportunities that it services. If we don't find anything in that core search, we can back off to a more exploratory search to see what's out there that maybe isn't quite as direct a fit, but could still be possibilities. You'll notice here it says that it's trying to find actual grant foundation opportunities from official sources. We have very specific guardrails in place for what it can treat as an official source for a grant opportunity. So we're not getting a bunch of listicles or outdated press releases or things like that. So we're going to search for grants for the social emotional learning program.
And tell us about why this does a better search than if you just Googled or did like a Gemini search or a Chat GPT search.
We've built a lot of guardrails into what the agent treats as eligibility for a particular organization. I'm going to select foundations and non government grant makers for this particular search round so it can keep moving. So, for instance, it doesn't accept something listed on a listicle as a verified opportunity. It knows that it has to go find the actual website. It will also check very carefully for geographic area to make sure that those are a fit as well. And because we are using an organizational profile rather than, a drop down list of I can check this, this, and this county or this, and this city, we also have a section in that profile for how the organization describes its service area, which allows for regional location identifiers. So in this case, Chicago's South Side, or you might be in the Tri-Cities area or something like that, so that foundations that use that kind of language for what they fund can be found as well.
And it's kind of the same principle for the work that you do, because that's one of the issues that we found with different grants databases, and we've tried a lot of different ones, is they have these very prescriptive categories, and they don't match up to what you actually do, nor do they match up to what the funder actually funds.
Yes, a lot of those databases use the IRS's NTEE codes, or the National Taxonomy of Exempt Entities, which is a category that the IRS assigns to an organization when they apply for their nonprofit status. It's not what the organization uses to describe itself necessarily. So we were working with, it's like a game of telephone almost, of this is what the IRS thinks you are, and also what they think that this funder will fund. It just gets really messy.
Mhm.
So we've got a mid-search check-in now. It's found a few possibilities here. So what I would do now is look through these. If they look like they're the right kind of opportunities, right area, things like that, it's going to invite me to continue searching to find more opportunities or to adjust the focus. I think these opportunities look like a good start. So I'm actually going to have it add these first four to our grant tracker.
And it gave us 4 because this is for an imaginary client that we already have a ton of opportunities for. So it's trying to find ones that we don't already have. So if you were doing this fresh, this would look different, right?
It would look different. And also, this is just the midpoint check in.
Yeah.
It's designed to, before it goes off and does a wild goose chase of searching with the wrong idea in its head, we have this mid search check in to make sure that what it is looking for is what we want it to be looking for. I'll say add the 1 through 4 to the grant tracker and then continue searching, and we'll see exactly what it turns up for us later. It will always it's set up in its instructions to always number what it finds, because that makes it really easy for you to give instructions like add 1 through 4 to the grant tracker, which it's doing now. And we'll actually go over to the grant tracker so that we can see it adding these in real time. This is our evaluation tab on the grant tracker, which is where all new entries go to get started.
And it just has instructions built into it to put it in that specific tab. So you don't even have to finagle with Notion to like get it to go to the right place, right?
Nope, it's already got instructions on where to put it, which properties here it needs to fill out if possible, and it will also write up a little overview summary for us as well.
I love that part of it so much because one of the things with the AI grants hub that people struggled with was like, oh, I've got to manually input this information in here from another grants database. And it's like, no, we've eliminated that step. Now you can just do everything in the AI grants hub, including your search, and it just gets put in the right place for you.
Yep.
And this is the point where we go open another tab and do something else while it's doing our work.
Yeah, I always have at least 2 projects going at a time. One of the reason is it is taking so long to do this is because it is double checking if any of these funders already have profiles in our funders database as well. So again, making sure we don't end up with multiple copies of things hanging
Yeah.
around, which is something that AI can do if you aren't giving it very careful instructions. You are getting the benefit of all of my pain points in this.
Yeah. And I had somebody ask me the other day, what is the funders database? Why do we have to make that? What is the deal with that in here?
Sure. Yeah, it's actually already created the funders pages for us. So we keep a funders database as something separate from a grant tracker because, first of all, funders may have multiple opportunities or grant programs that you want to keep track of. And ideally, information about your funders, especially repeat funders, should build over time. And this creates a centralized place to keep track of those relationships. So even if you have different staff members coming in and out that serve as the primary point person, you have a record of what the relationship has been over time. So it's created new pages for all of these funders. We've got their websites in here, and it's gone ahead and tagged a funder type. Another thing we have in here is last edited by. So this will show the person or agent that last made changes to the page. So you have a record again of what your agents have been doing. And then in this page, we have space for contact information, space for notes, and a blank grantee index. And I'm going to show you what that looks like when it's filled out in just a minute. Now we also have entries on our grant tracker. So we have, first of all, we have the website for this, we have the suggested program for this. And we have this opportunity overview table that has key information like the cycle, the deadlines, who is eligible, key exclusions, details about the award size, and any open questions. This is something that I especially like is it goes ahead and gives you a list of here's all of the information that you should double check on as a human before we move forward with this application.
And just to clarify, did you put that information in there?
I did not put this information in here. The agent wrote this for me. So now it's searching some more. We can come back and see how it's doing in a minute. Oh, it's actually already got some results for us. So it has done an extensive round of searching and has done 25 plus total distinct searches. When it says distinct searches, it means using different sets of keywords that it created based on our organization profile. So it's trying to come at this from multiple angles. And 10 plus official source pages loaded. So we've got two new possibilities that it verified, and then we have a few that it investigated but then dropped, and it's going to tell us who they are and why it decided to drop it. The nice thing about this is that you can look through here and see, oh, this is Peoria based instead of in our area. Maybe we have a partner in Peoria that we could check with or something like that. There's no open application for this one right now, but there's a contact email that we could try to get in touch with them. So this is giving you a list basically of possible leads to follow, but just not verified yet. So again, this helps you kind of prioritize what is available right now and what could use some cultivation maybe so you can have a full spread of things in your pipeline.
And that's what was always so frustrating to me about all of these grants databases. They don't do that step. They just give you some of them just give you everything. They drop it on you, and then you have to look through and be like, "Oh, yeah, this is not Chicago is not Peoria," or like, "They don't have any open grants right now," number 1, or they don't include it at all and don't even give you the information to make this longer term decision about. So, this is giving you the back end information that usually you don't get, but also parsing it out so you don't have this, like, overwhelm.
Yes. And again, this is our strictest set of search parameters. We could go out to a more exploratory mode, or they call it stretch mode. I call it, this is what I named it. I call it stretch mode in that it's a little bit of a stretch to pitch your program as meeting their priorities, but it could be done. So we could continue searching a little more broadly. I'm going to have it add those to the grant tracker, and it's telling me, hey, here's your 6 new prospects that we added here. You can actually set this agent up to run autonomously on a schedule. So maybe once a week, You can modify the instructions a little bit. Once a week, it does a search, it sends you a message with what it found. You don't even have to think about it.
And we'll tell you how to do that, which is basically you just get in there and edit a
It's
few
very,
lines
yeah.
to say, "Do this once a week and email me or message me."
Yep. All right. So the next step would be to do an evaluation. And to do that, I need to go pull a little information. Let's do the Lumpkin Family Foundation. So, for these that I want to do some more investigation on, I'm going to check this needs grantees box here. This refers to the grantee index, trying to figure out who they have funded in the past. So, this is a step that we have figured out really needs to be a human step, which is tracking down these EINs. Well, I am just going to go to Nonprofit Explorer. So we're looking for the Lumpkin Family Foundation.
And this is a free website, so nothing to pay for here.
And I'm just going to grab that EIN number and paste it in here. And then I'm actually going to copy and paste this name because I know I'm not going to be able to spell that right on the first try. Illinois Children's Healthcare Foundation. All right, that's enough to get us started. All right, so we're here on the grantee indexer. You'll see we've got 3 things listed here that are ready to sync 990 data. I have the option to exclude awards. So over here on our grantee indexer, you'll see we've got a bunch of records added for these 2 funders. We're still waiting on the Lumpkin Foundation. You can see they have 596 records. It's going to take a little bit longer for that. And these records are from 22, 23, 24. If there were records for 2025, it would look for them. It doesn't look like those are posted yet. So what it means that these records have synced is that over here in our funders database now, if I go to the Illinois Children's Healthcare Foundation and open this grantee index tab, we now have a list here of everyone they have given a grant to in the past 3 years with their city, their state, and the amount, the purpose, and which year it was given to. So this lets us do all kinds of interesting things, including running our opportunity evaluator, which is our other agent that works with our org profile and this information. So now I am going to go back over to the grant tracker. I'm still on this evaluation screen here, and I'm going to check needs evaluation for this Illinois Children's Healthcare Foundation. When I check this box, it tells the agent that it needs to start to run. And you'll see it says down here, AC Opportunity Evaluator is working. So I'm going to open this page and open the details here. And we're going to see as it updates things in this page. Open up these evaluation properties here. So this is actually one of the things that I really love about working with Notion AI is I've got the chat pulled up here. I say it's a chat. I'm not really talking to the agent right now. It's just working because I clicked the button. But I can see it's got a list based on its instructions that it has of everything it needs to do. And I can go down here and see what it's thinking, basically, like the steps that it's going through. So it's looking at openness to new grantees right now, and I could see how it was going through all of the listings and what it was finding with that. So if I get back a response and I think this doesn't quite seem right, I can go and look at its record to try to figure out what might have gone wrong. And a lot of times, if something does go wrong, it means that I can then update the instructions based on what went wrong to prevent that from happening in the future. It also gives a level of transparency to the whole system. It means that I'm not just getting a number from it without understanding what exactly that number means or what it was evaluating with that. I can see exactly what it was going through and looking at to come to some kind of number.
And that's a gap too, because there are softwares out there that will assign a number, but you don't know what it's based on. And I think Of course, if you're someone who's like been doing this for over a decade, you're like, I have some input. I have some judgment that I need to make sure I exercise and not just leave it all up to the AI. But also, if you haven't been doing this for a decade plus, you need to know yourself how it's making evaluations so you can learn, so you can explain it to your executive director, your board, whomever, and start to develop that skill yourself because we're not trying to outsource all of our skills. We're trying to speed up the process.
Yes. So it's finished its evaluation and it's updated two different pages as it was doing this. First of all, the record on the funder's entry has been updated. So it looked at this funder's history and looked at our organization profile and decided that this was a B in terms of mission alignment. So, not the very best, but still pretty good. In terms of geographic alignment, so where are awards being given compared to our own service area, that was an A, which makes sense to me. It looked at openness to new grantees, which is how often are new grantees awarded things, how often is it repeat grantees, and it's a mixed portfolio, so it's middle of the pack. Then it also made a recommended request amount based on the information that it had about prior awards. And this isn't just a like, what's the average or what's the median? It's looking at organizations that have similar missions or service areas or even size to our own organization and looking at what kinds of awards they have received to then come up with a number that is meaningful but reasonable based on all of that context. If it, in its larger dig into this funder, found information that maybe needed to be updated about the opportunity overview, it would also make updates to that. And you'll see we have an opportunity evaluation by AI here. Again, we're trying to make this transparent so that you can clearly see what its logic is behind this. So we've got baseline eligibility, the openness to new grantees, mission alignment, geographic alignment, recommended request amount, and any risk flags. So this would again be the double check these things before you apply. We've also got an update log down here. So if, let's say, a year from now, we've got some new 990 data for this funder and we run an evaluation again, it's going to keep this record of what it said in July 2026, but it will also update that information for July 2027. So it's a living record as well, again, to look at building long term strategy for grant seeking. We've also got, it keeps this track of this on the funder record too. So last evaluated July 2026.
Amazing. Let's say you went with that one grant opportunity. You're like, okay, I want to go for this. What is your next step? Not that you have to take us through the whole thing, but just to show us in the ecosystem of the AI Grants Hub, what do you do?
Sure. So the next thing that I would do is I would pull in a copy of the RFP for this grant. I can embed it as a PDF. And then I have another little tool that I can use called the grant plan skill. What it will do is it will look at that RFP, or if it's a website, right? The funder just has everything listed on a website instead of a PDF. I can send the agent to that website. It's going to take a look at what's in the RFP. It's going to come up with an approach plan for us specifically that looks at what are the funders' priorities, what are their requirements, where's the overlap with what we do, etc. Then it's going to draft an outline of the application. So if this is a form that has questions that you write narrative responses to, it's going to create little sections for each of those questions. If it is a longer grant application, so like some of those state or federal grants where you're putting together a giant document at the end of it, it's going to create an outline of the different required sections with notes about what is required for that section. If the RFP includes a rubric or scoring criteria, it's going to pull all that out into a separate section. So you'll have that in a snapshot view at the top. And it's also going to create another kind of overview snapshot with key information like the deadline, what are the requirements, required attachments, any kind of proof of eligibility documents that you need. All of that will again be included at the top of the page. And it's going to tell you exactly where in the RFP it found those requirements. So it's easy for you as the human to double check its work because, again, you should double check its work. And we're just trying to make it as easy as possible for humans to do that because we think it's really important.
I just love everything about this. It's like the culmination of everything we've been doing for the past 3 years, I feel like, and just streamlining everything we've been manually doing with AI. So I'm just so excited.